Prime Video's steamy new mystery 56 Days is part soap, part romance, and part whodunnit. So are you in? After a chance supermarket encounter, Oliver and Ciara embark on an intense relationship. When a savagely murdered corpse resurfaces 56 days later, the investigation delves into their turbulent love story, revealing grim secrets. Dove Cameron and Avan Jogia star as Ciara and Oliver, respectively, along with Carla Souza, Dorian Missick, Megan Pita Hill, and Patch Dara. Now, the 8 episodes, they are the normal 45-ish minutes long, and unlike a lot of the other series that have labeled themselves steamy, this one actually delivers on its claims. Now, the story, it's told in a very jumpy manner, meaning that we are taken back and forth between the present and then anywhere in between 56 days prior. Cops are alerted to a nasty person soup in an apartment building, and then they spend the series trying to determine who was taking a ridiculously long bath and who put them there. During all the times other than the present, we get to watch Ciara and Oliver fall into a rapid romance, progressing from strangers to live-in lovers in a matter of days. They have a broken sort of chemistry. Both are secretive, seemingly paranoid, impulsive, and then a small mix of lust and longing. Despite the wonky aura that surrounds them both individually and then as a couple, I did begin to buy the attraction and then become invested in their romance. And because they both seemed a bit damaged, they complemented each other well, understanding each other's unsaid hurts or even fears, even if they were suffering from different traumas. There are several times throughout the show that the acting becomes melodramatic, sometimes even stiff and unnatural. The portrayals, they weren't consistent though, and maybe that's to mimic their own internal dysfunctions and issues. Sometimes though, just thanks to vacant or maybe forlorn looks, the actors resembled cardboard more than people with feelings or desires. There's a balance that needs to be struck when having the leads portrayed as dour or troubled, and the show, it didn't maintain it consistently, allowing the mains to detach too far and then become lifeless shells that were uninteresting to watch. But to contrast that, when the show wanted to get sexy, the passion and the heat were very apparent. So it's not like the actors couldn't emote properly, they just weren't directed effectively throughout the entire story. And with Ciara and Oliver, we typically only get snippets of the relationship. I don't mean to say that we get a minute here or there with them before going back to the cops. We do spend a fair amount of time within each episode with the couple, not just all in one helping. We might get a 5, maybe 10-minute scene with them that works to build in background info on a story portion that the detectives are working on. It's like the story is working its way from both ends just towards the middle, and that's where all of the answers are hopefully going to unfold. And then we've got the cops. Now, I'm not sure we're meant to like either of the lead detectives because they are both irritating and emotionally stunted when it comes to simple conversations. And even though they're partners, their working dynamic, it sucks. I was struggling to see how they remained partners, especially when their dialogue back and forth, it was rude, biting, and mainly condescending. Carla Souza and Dorian Missick play the two cops, and while I wasn't a fan of either of the characters, there were a few times that Missick's voice sounded as if Coleman Domingo was in the room. That instances? That was awesome. There was also something off about Souza's performance. I don't know if the directing was going sideways, but her characterization came across as detached, or maybe in a daze, rarely giving the perception that she even wanted to be there, or was there at all. Now, there's a tangent the plot takes us on that I was concerned was just going to be a waste of time. Thankfully, though, the arc does work its way into the overall plot nicely, and while it is extremely convenient, it's not a dissatisfying addition. There are other areas, though, especially involving Ciara's background, that receive cursory development. We're provided with enough context so that everything makes sense, but there are certain relationships that she has that shouldn't be surfacey, but they're created that way. And the same goes for Oliver's past, but in this instance, the dynamic of his family is extremely obvious and it doesn't require any further backing just to make the relationships feel explained. Pacing for the series is quick-moving, thanks mostly to the alternating timeline sequences. But this type of storytelling also made it very jumbled and somewhat frustrating of a watching experience. The show does employ huge title cards to let us know where in time we are, but when we visit like 8 different dates in a single episode, all while also traveling to the present in between most of those, it doesn't matter that we add visuals. The past just becomes a blur and it runs together. Honestly, though, I'm not even sure it matters what particular day something happened. As long as we can kind of tell a rough progression, the exact time's not hugely relevant. The series plays out like a trashy soap, where there's immense drama at every turn, most of it, though, exaggerated to create heightened emotions on our parts, but one that's still able to get hooks into us and keep us invested. I was actively fighting against being enthralled in the story, and while it is shallow and not incredibly memorable, I was intrigued enough that I needed to find out who was in that tub and then why. And for that mystery, I thought it was decently obscured. There does come a point in episode 6, maybe 7, that everything is extremely obvious before any reveal comes, but the show does give a good effort of not providing a ton of the clues too early on. And this isn't an Agatha Christie story, though, so you might be able to guess earlier on. Are you going to get the motive? I don't know. And that only matters, though, if you care. I mean, because if you guess and you just can't be bothered, well, fair enough, I get that. Overall, 56 Days is a sultry and seductive mystery that jumps around a lot in time, sometimes to its detriment. The acting is mixed, with some sequences showcasing palpable emotion and believable exchanges, while others feature drab and lifeless portrayals to create characters with the charisma and anima of a rock. Despite uneven background development and a few story tangents, the series is able to maintain an urgent and exciting pace. This has all the memorability of an airport paperback romance, but that doesn't mean a tawdry mystery can't also be fun. There's a bunch of sex and nudity, a lot of profanity, and then some violence. I give 56 Days 3 out of 5 couches. There is nothing highbrow here, but if you're up for some seductive action, maybe give it a go. All right, have you watched any spectacular series lately? I would love to hear about what you've been watching in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.